What's up guys, PDC here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys a replay of another World Cup game. This time it is versus c0mp, a rather competent player who's actually gotten some decent success in tournaments in the past couple of months, especially OLT, not OLT and OST. I think he reached like top 16 of OST, and I think he had a run in OLT as well, or maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else, but c0mp is on Team Metro, which as of now is actually eliminated, but when I played him they were still in contention, although they're still a pretty bad record. And it's kind of a showdown of the East Coast here. We got Metro we got c0mp on Metro, and we got me on US East. And surprisingly, I'm using offense, which Tasong was actually freaking out about. He could not believe that I actually decided to use offense in a World Cup game. He couldn't believe it. I have used this team before, but it was with Lando I over Lando T. I decided to go for Lando T just over to Lando I to get the quick fix of something with SR, and that still gives me a ground immunity. And I decided to go with a rather bulky Lando T this time instead of a more offensive Earthquake version, simply because I was afraid if he brought Exca, I would be getting just ran over. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the game. He's running a little similar team, but he's running Togekiss, and I'm almost 100% sure that he thought that I was going to bring balance, which is why he brought balance breakers, such as Togekiss and Crawdaunt, which balance is a really hard time with. And he also brought some hazards in Stealth Rock and Spikes. So starting off the game, I'm just going to go ahead and go, and first, these nicknames are all from Siberian Katru, a band called Yes, which I think is amazing. It's all from the song Siberian Katru, and their bassist he died, so I figured this would be a good tribute to him. I'm sure some of you progressive rock fans or whatever will recognize it, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it Lando T, and he's going to leave it Togekiss. He's going to call it back, maybe afraid of something like a Stone Edge or something like that. I just decided to go for the rocks though, and considering Latios is his only defogger, and my team pressures Latios rather well, it was a good play for me to just get rocks immediately. And I also just decided to go for some Earthquake damage on the Garchomp, which is actually very bulky. So that's kind of annoying. I just go for some, get damage on it. I'll see how much I can do, because Rocky Helmet Garchomp is incredibly annoying. But he's just going to go ahead and Dragon Tail me out of there, and he's going to bring out my Weavile. Now, Weavile can KO this Chomp easily with Icicle Crash, but I know that he's probably going to go out to his Klefki here to get Spikes on the field, as it's a pretty decent Weavile switch. So what I'm going to do to prevent Spikes from getting down, maybe get a better advantage, is just go and double back to Lando T here, as he decides to go on the Klefki, which I think was a pretty good play on my part, as it prevented further Spikes from going on the field, as long as he was not Magnet Rise, which I did not believe he was. At least at the time. If he was Magnet Rise, then that would have been really bad, but he wasn't, because he just decided to switch out, and he just decides to probably go back to his Garchomp, because Garchomp is already low on health, and I don't think it would risk getting something like Togekiss or Latios damaged. And I go for the knockoff, expecting him to possibly switch, and I know that even if he goes back to Garchomp, it's fine with Lando taking damage, as Lando is really just a sacrifice anyway at this point, because it really doesn't wall anything on his team, since he did not bring Excadrill, and it's not like it's going to be able to do anything for Manectric. It is an okay Klefki switch. So I guess it would have been okay to save it, but still, I don't think it would have been worth it. There is really no point in saving something that will just, do pretty much nothing when I have other Pokemon for that role anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and sacrifice my Landorus here. He brings out his Latios. I'm just going to let him kill me. Like I said, there's no point in saving Landorus T here, as this opens up just a quick route for me to pursue this Latios, erase any chance of a defog, and keep pressure on him, which is exactly what I'm going to do with my Weavile. Now I do get a crit here, and after the game he told me he actually stayed in, so that crit did matter. Not incredibly, too much. He would have died anyway if he Draco Meteored me, and if he defogged, then the Weavile would have been still alive. So I don't think that crit affected the outcome all that much. But he's going to bring in his Klefki, and considering I do not want Heatran to take any unnecessary damage, and I also do not want my Manectric to get any unnecessary damage, considering how well of a Togekiss and Crawdaunt check it is, I'm just going to decide to hit this Klefki, which turns out to be especially defensive, as I figured, and I just want to get some good damage on it. And as you can tell, this Klefki takes a shit ton from Weavile. Without any defensive investment, it actually is not that great of a tank, and I'm pretty confident that I can get it down to a pretty low amount of health with Weavile, which I don't necessarily need anymore, considering how weak it is, especially with rocks and spikes now on the field. So, with Weavile useless and dead, I decided to go with my Manectric, which is going to outspeed it, be immune to T-Wave, so I figured it was a good switch, and the only thing thing that he can really do is just go ahead and get up another layer of spikes, which, while annoying, is alright. I really don't care that much. So I'm going to go ahead and T-bolt him, and I'm going to manage to take out the Klefki, and he's definitely going to go to his own Manectric here. I'm going to see what he decides to go for. I was a little afraid of a Volt Switch here. But I did decide to go out to my Heatran anyway, and even if, or no, I didn't decide to go out to my Heatran yet. I go out to my Latios here because I was afraid he was going to Volt Switch or something, and Latios is absolutely not needed in this game. But he just goes for the Flamethrower, which, it does crit, but it doesn't matter. He actually is really lucky in getting Fire Crits this game. Not like they matter, but he's just going to go ahead and Volt Switch out to my Latios now, and he's going to go ahead and just probably switch in his Togekiss or Crawdon here. I decide that really Latios is useless, so it doesn't really matter what I use. I go for the Defog here to erase hazards, so Manectric and Keldeo have an easier time in the later game, along with Heatran if I decide to switch it in. And although I can't set up hazards anymore, it really doesn't matter, because this is going to be a forced kill for him pretty much either way. I guess he could have technically there's really no way. As soon as I erased the hazards, I knew I was going to get damage on something, or at least get a decent enough kill. So I'm going to Side Shock the Togekiss, which I was afraid that it was Scarf for a bit, but turns out it's not, so it's okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and Side Shock, sacrifice the Latios to the Togekiss, which is going to be leftovers. Like I said, this guy must have really been prepared for me to use Balance, because Togekiss is a pretty cool balance breaker. And I just go to my Manectric, which obviously is not going to have a problem with anything this guy has or uses. He decides to call back his Togekiss here, I guess, saving it for later, maybe as a sacrifice, because it really can't do much at this point, except for maybe taking Earth Power. I just decided to go for the Thunderbolt here, and I decided to go out to my Heatran here. Now, I was expecting maybe a Volt Switch here, because I knew that if he wanted to win, he would have had to make some really risky plays, but instead he goes for a Flamethrower, and this allows Heatran, which is actually Choice Scarf, to do a lot of damage to his team, and gets a guaranteed kill on something. So I just decided to fire off a Fire Blast, and I believe Flash Fire Fire Blast would have killed the Crawdon anyway at this point, considering how shitty Crawdon's bulk is. But Togekiss is going to go down. I know this is a forced Crawdon for him, and the only way he can really win now is if he decides to double to Manectric here on the Keldeo switch, which I thought was pretty obvious. But instead he just decides to stay in and hit me with a Crab Hammer, which is actually surprisingly strong. If I brought Balance, I would have been very nervous. But I just go ahead and finish up the game with the Specs Secret Sword, and Manectric would have died to that too. So, offense, I decided to bring it at the right time, and I managed to get a quick win for my team. This means I go 3-0 in World Cup, as obviously Scarftrans or Manectric is going to clean this up. So, good game. It was nice playing you, and it was also nice keeping Metro from getting a better record than myself, although since this game I believe they got 5 wins or so. Prior to this game there was a running joke that Metro had less wins than one player. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and win this game, and that's going to make me 3-0. This was the last game I actually played in the World Cup. My first game, I'll probably upload that later, but that video is going to be sped up a little, and it's going to be extremely long because of just how fast, or not how fast, how it basically degraded into PP stalling. Because that was really all I could do until like a turn 160 or so. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and my savior Heatran finishes up the game, and I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as you did the last video, which got like 60 or so likes as of, I think, right now. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll probably upload my first technically, but third game very soon, and I'll speed it up to make sure it isn't too boring, and I'll make sure I narrate over the important parts. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Quick little video. Well, not really quick. It's 9 minutes, and now I'm just rambling on. But anyway, I actually brought offense, and the question is, will I bring offense again in World Cup if we make it out of round 1? Only time will tell. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.